What is up, POW fam? And we've covered every square on the chessboard from day 1, and now we're in day 64. Here at the chessboard by Paul POW, countdown to video 100. So we finally concluded the three consecutive day of the rivalry between Anatoly Karpov and Garry Kasparov. Now let's take a look between the old and the new. It's Mikhail Tal and Jóhann Hjartarson, I think. Something like that. Okay. My nose is a bit itchy, so give me a while. So Mikhail starts with... Oh. So Mikhail starts with e4 and e5 by Jóhann, and knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5, a6, Rudy Lopez again, and then bishop a4, knight f6, castles, bishop e7, rook e1, b5, bishop b3, castle, c3, d6, h3, knight a5, bishop c2, c5, d4, queen c7, knight bd2, bishop d7, knight f1, takes, rook a c8, knight e3, knight c6, d5, knight b4, bishop b1, a5, a3, knight a6, b4, and g6. It would be an equal position if he takes it, and then if the game would have been continued, obviously it's a takes b4, then rook a8, bishop d2, queen b7, knight h2, knight c7, and then they exchange, and queen f3. That could have been quick and all after all. Okay, going back to g6, bishop d2, white is having a slight advantage, and then they take queen b7, bishop d3, and knight c7, but the better one is rook a8, knight h2, knight c7, queen f3, they exchange, king h8, g4, knight g8, and the position seems to go equal right there. Back to knight c7, there's knight c2, white's position will still remain having a slight advantage, but that's after knight h2, rook a8, queen e2, rook a4, they exchange, knight c4, knight h5, knight a5, and queen b6, and white will have a slight advantage here. But I think white's already having a slight advantage. Somebody's calling. What is this? So that was a lucky break that I've had. So going back, this knight c2, there's knight h5, bishop e3, rook a8, queen d2, and then they take f5, bishop h6, and Jóhann made a mistake with knight g7. I don't know why, but that's just defending the threatened rook. You can just move the rook after all with rook e8, bishop b1, f takes e4, knight takes e5, d takes, sacrificing the knight. Okay, so he takes it freely with, oh, sacrificing the knight for this doubled attack. Wow. And then goes bishop, and then takes, and it's an equal position after all. Okay, then there's the threat of bishop takes e4, something like that. Game goes with knight b3, white having a slight advantage, f4, and then knight a5. Ooh, tries to threaten the queen, but the better one is rook c1, queen b6, knight c5. Oh, another d takes, knight takes, bishop e8, queen b2, queen f6, b takes c5, and g5, and white's position will have a slight advantage over here. So going back to knight a5, there's queen b6, rook c1, rook a8, and queen c2. Okay, but a better one is bishop e2, knight g8, queen b2, bishop f6, bishop d1, bishop g7, bishop takes, and knight c6, and white position will have a slight advantage. You can go bishop here. You can try to check, but that's no good. At least he can try to sacrifice. He just take it, and then he freely opens it up with a threat of probably a knight check. Back to queen c2. There's knight ce8, queen b3, bishop f6, knight c6, knight h5, queen b2, bishop g7, and then here, before we show you the mistake, the variation says just take it, bishop f1, queen a6, knight g5, knight h5, queen e2, queen a3, queen d2, and queen a6. It could have been fine after all, but here he instead take the captured piece with a king. He captures the bishop with a king, and not this other bishop as well. That's a long story, slightly shorter. So rook c5, white is having a slight advantage here, but that's after bishop e2, knight g3, sacrificing the knight. If he takes it, oh, it cannot because it's checked now, so it threatens here. So bishop d3, knight h5, knight f takes e5, d takes e5, bishop e2, bishop takes c6, and queen check. Ooh. And let's just say the knight goes here. Gets to take it. The queen goes to a7. No. And then something like rook something, but no. So the rook c5, queen a6, and rook takes b5, and knight c7. Another. So I think it's a blunder. Knight c7 could have been done with b, d, q, r, and k, n, and k. And white's position will still have will remain in a slight advantage. Maybe this could lead up into a draw. Alright. Knight c7 and rook b8. White is now absolutely winning. After, if it's rook a5, sacrificing the bishop, then queen takes. Knight c takes e5, d takes e5, queen check, king f8, queen takes, and rook takes a5. You can probably just like go here and ready to promote, or you can just try to take it as well. That's what I've been thinking about it. So rook b8, and then queen takes d3, knight c takes e5, queen d1, king h2, rook a1, knight g4, and king f7. It's already absolutely, oh my gosh, it's already winning. You can just go queen d4, but it's also losing a queen. Then king f7, knight h6, king e7, knight h8, king f7, and how do you mate it? Knight here, and it's checkmate. Ooh. And the game ends with knight h6, king e7, and king knight g8. So white wins the mate race because black cannot go here because it's already in check. Doesn't matter about it, but you cannot take the king. But that means Jóhann resigned here because this is the mate that we showed earlier. Oh my goodness, that is absolutely crazy after all. Well, that's it. Thank you so much for watching, POW fam. Be sure to subscribe and become a Patreon member at patreon.com/PaulPower. And I'll see you tomorrow once again at Chess World by Paul POW. Countdown to FIDE 100.